and welcome in to the AOK Production House, Studio Number 2. I'm Nick O'Kelly. With me, as always, Derek Daisy.
Hi, Nick.
It's To the Echo Radio Show.
Yeah, where is Studio 1?
It's my bathroom.
Oh. Okay, all right.
You know, you got to have a good hook. I mean, come on.
I feel like if you're going to have a Studio 2, why not just build a Studio 1?
You were in Studio 1 just before the show started.
I was. It was, I mean, I don't want to get technical and gross on you, but I went number 1.
How did you like it? Was it? Did you find it to be a good experience in there?
You know, I got to say I like AOK 2 over 1, probably because the water splashes up really aggressively in the AOK Studio 1. Not a fan. Not a fan of that.
Well, I'm sorry my plumbing is not up to your standards.
Well, all right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a very special show for you today because we have some new, it's indie music.
Yeah.
New to us, though.
Yeah.
And the band is called the Silver Snails. We have them here live with us. I want to give a short introduction. We'll bring them on here. The Silver Snails, you can catch them on Facebook.com. You can see them on Twitter. Go to YouTube, check them out. But they are a fully independent pop rock music project based in the medieval wine country of Romagna, Italy, with strong ties to the West Coast. They have a self-produced 2012 debut album known as The Seven Melodies that constitutes an integrated musical spell designed to unlock joy and unleash magic within the lives of those who listen. They're also supported by a community of musicians, artists, dancers, and friends, each of whom have added their personal inspiration and talent to the project. That comes from their bio on Facebook.
Nice.
Well, let's not waste any more time. We're bringing on today Lucas Ward, lead singer, the man behind the Silver Snails. Lucas, welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Can you hear me okay?
Oh,
I can hear you great.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
All right. I'm doing great, and thanks for having me. Feel very honored to be here.
No, thanks for coming on. Now, Lucas, that was a short introduction. So what I would like to know, and Derek hasn't had the opportunity to meet you just yet, tell us about yourself. How did you get into this? What's the band all about? Where are you from? Who is Lucas and the Silver Snails?
Okay. Let's see. I'm originally from the States. You know, I grew up mostly in Portland, Oregon, went to school on the East Coast, studied Asian languages and literature, ended up learning Chinese and studying Japanese and working in Asia. And long story short, I fell in love with a lady from Italy named Elisa Fantini. And we ended up getting married, and at a certain point had some money saved and decided to go back and basically focus on raising children. And at that time, I decided to devote myself full-time to music. And so the Silver Snails is basically the outgrowth of that quest, and it's our vehicle and our brands and our project and our way to make a living and, you know, do our mission in the world.
So where are you from? You said you're from the States originally. Are you from, I know you're in Portland right now. Is that where you're from originally?
I was born in San Francisco, and I spent some time in Texas when I was little. And then I went to public schools and high school in Portland, Oregon. And then I went to college at Amherst College in the East Coast. And then I've basically been living overseas in both Asia and Europe since college.
Wow, you've been all over the place. What's that like? I mean, now, did you come from a family that traveled or military or something? What led to all the movement?
Well, I think it's definitely, you know, inside me, just sort of who I am. I've always been so fascinated by mystery, and ever since I was a kid, I always sort of dreamed of going overseas. I was interested in learning foreign languages. I ended up majoring in Mandarin. You know, I was a liberal arts major, but I just said, you know, I want to learn Mandarin, so I did it.
Wow.
So I went to China, and then through my marriage, now I find myself living full-time in Italy. I have a dual citizenship, 3 kids in school under a castle in Italy. So I've had more than just, so that's really just following kind of my personal bliss, I would say, and my interests. But, you know, in this day and age, it also can open opportunity. And so those are things that, you know, even in the music project, I certainly try to work if they arise. The main one is just as we look at, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No,
continue.
Holding forth here. You guys created a monster.
I love it.
You know, I was talking to Nick before the show about, you know, people have different expectations. I think we all grow up with ideas about certainly what music is, but where it comes from and who makes it and the music business and all of that. And of course, whatever the music business was, you know, where, you know, they sold vinyls and, you know, the Ed Sullivan Show and all that. It's not really that anymore. But music is still there and it's still really important.
Yeah.
And, but people have these expectations about like what a music project should look like and whether music should come in packets of like one song or, you know, EPs or LPs and audio and video and, you know, is there a hard copy? And if not, then, you know, how do we sell it and all of these things. So taking a step back, I mean, our goal is to bring joy to people through music and to make the best possible sort of handcrafted pop rock that we can and offer that as a commercial alternative in the marketplace as sort of self-representing artisans. But when we look at the marketplace, we're not necessarily talking about Portland or, you know, some circuit. We're looking at the whole world and we're sort of starting fresh and saying, okay, based on what's happening in the world with technology and media, how can we sort of surf whatever waves are there to reach as many hearts as we can and package our product in a way that's accessible to people, speak their language. And so, you know, giving you that as background, maybe it helps understand a little bit why we have a song with an EP with 8 songs and, you know, at least 5 of them are bilingual. But obviously the core is really pop rock, you know, rooted in the Anglo sort of singer-songwriter tradition, you know, U.S., British, et cetera, and the stuff that I grew up with. Those are the roots. But obviously the project itself and what I'm trying to project is very forward-looking and kind of looking at the world, you know, as one big oyster, if you will. And music can travel without limits, especially if you're willing to give it away, as we are on the internet. So it's a question of like learning those channels and then feeding that and then figuring out how to project that and then ultimately monetize it as well, which means touring.
I tell you, Lucas, I'm going to be honest. Derek and I were liberal arts majors as well. In fact, we majored in music business. So to hear someone...
I heard that.
Yeah.
You're a bass player and Derek's a songwriter. Like that's kind of already like I've got my guard up.
To hear someone break it down like that is incredible. You sound like our professor who had lived in Japan for a while.
Well, this is my own map, and certainly you've probably gathered that, you know, even though I work with my intuitive side to write and stuff, I'm a pretty cerebral person. But this is the map that I'm using to try to get through it. I'm just curious if any of it either resonates or you know, creates a dissonance with the way you see it.
I don't think it creates dissonance in any way. I mean, it's interesting because it is hard to make a living doing music or writing music, especially, as you said, the way that we've kind of come to know it over the last 50 years. You know, streaming has come a long way, where I would make a lot more money from songs and singles and stuff when people were buying the album outright, and now I get 3 or 4 cents here or there every month, you know, from iTunes Match or Apple Music, Spotify, all that. So it makes you have to be creative, especially to make a living out of it. So we don't make a full living out of doing music right now. I mean, we do other things. We got other jobs and stuff, but it's really cool to be able. I mean, to hear, especially on your side, you want to like you're giving your music away. Right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, but that's, think of it, forget about music for a second. Think of software or apps, okay?
Yeah.
If you're in Silicon Valley and you talk about with the freemium model, basically you want to give away something that's cool that people can download so that then it becomes, on their phone or desktop or whatever. And then at some point you try to sell them on an upgrade. The whole music business, I think you could easily view the production of a single or even an LP and videos as just free giveaway content in order to build the brand. And then the upgrade sale becomes the concert ticket.
Yeah.
And even if you could still sell a CD, okay, the artist might get $1, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a tour, I mean, some people will go see the same show more than once in a year. And if you look at like what people are paying in Italy, for instance, to see some of these name brand people, you can see that is just, that's, that business bears little resemblance to the recording industry or what's left of it, and so, yeah. But, I think that doesn't mean that it isn't important to write good songs and make good recordings and all that. It just becomes a question of how you do it and why and what the follow-through is.
Oh, and I absolutely agree to that. It's one of those things for what if folks don't have the means or the ability to go on tour. Because that's like I like you. I had a daughter a year and a half ago, and now the way me and my wife work, we kind of work opposite schedules, and I can't leave. Like I would love to go on tour and do those things, but just due to our circumstances, we can't. So, I love putting music out there. I love handing it to people and sending it to people, but it's like, well, then how else can you do it if you don't have the concert ticket? Like, have you tried any other things that have been cool or successful?
Well, there are certainly, in theory, 40 or 50 different ways that musicians can monetize their music. But in reality, the people that are doing that tend to be, established at a point where they're touring. So they're getting significant revenues on Spotify because, they're placed well enough within playlists, et cetera. And that's because they're on a label maybe. So it's definitely, the game is still, even though people can make music more independently and the internet kind of breaks some of the chokehold of like the old immediate channels, it's still heavily rigged against anybody independent, competing with the old label system and what we could call the machine.
Yeah.
And so our entire project is really just an experiment to see if it's even possible. And but we're going to the mat on it, and we could be close. It's hard to say from here.
That's wow. I mean, it's
certainly
actually...
I knew from the beginning that learning how to sing really, really well, like competing with anyone who's just like a standalone singer on just the singing, was really important. So that's like a daily investment for me. But it's also my whole family. I mean, we can do the whole family band thing. So literally, I can go anywhere in the world and hire studio musicians, be a front man, and tour large or small. In fact, I did just that, set up my own little tour as more of a showcase thing in New York and also locally in Italy just to test the concept. So I think the answer is, like, if you have a brand and a touring opportunity, you could, in theory, build a tour that's, the right size, cost-wise, whatever. And I've seen things like, what's that guy, king of acid jazz, a London-based guitar player, really big in the 90s. He came to Italy, and he just brought his bassist, and they did a DJ set that they were singing and sort of jamming, over DJ equipment. So it was almost exciting as like a live performance, particularly if you knew their material, but super, super low cost. And you see that a lot, like some of the more established like brands that even the machine is trying to launch. It's like just one person or a duo or, something really light. When I see like big ensembles, like traveling around, I go, wow, how did they raise the money,
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, there's so many crazy special situations too in music that, every situation's unique.
Now, I lived over in Germany for about 2 years, and while I was there,
Yeah, you mentioned.
While I was there, I noticed that there were some bands that my wife and I went to see that had been, let's say, bigger in the States, I don't know, 10 years prior maybe, and they were just drawing huge audiences, and I was really glad to see it. One was a band I like called Blackberry Smoke. Loved to see that because they put on a great show, and the hallway was packed out. But it was a larger audience than what I don't know if they couldn't draw it now, but they do tour a lot. But I guess my question to you is, what is the difference? You said you did a tour over here in the States, a small one, and then you did it in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it easier to get to venues and to play out more in Italy than you did in the States? Did you find it harder? What's the difference, in your opinion, between European market and the U.S. market?
Interesting question. Well, certainly the Italian market is heavily franchised, and not just in music, but meaning it's all of the business goes to the people that are already locked in. Like you can't, and it's passed down father to son. It's very. I found it almost impossible, even being local in Italy, to get, to be able to play anywhere really, because all of the stages are already given to the people that are already in the system.
Oh, wow.
And the big label people completely dominate the radio. And there really isn't an indie scene. And Italians for years have been used to just consuming purely label products. So the big difference in the States, and I'm sure this goes for the UK as well, is they really like, and there is, you have the big commercial machine stuff is everywhere, and most of the radio stations and stuff, it's just, there's the country flavor, the hip hop flavor, whatever, but it sounds pretty similar. But then there's people like you guys that really want to hear something that's independent. And so that exists here more, I would say, in the U.S. in particular. At the same time, it's also very, very competitive. But at least there are circuits. There are people, at the venue level, people at the radio DJ level and podcast level, all up and down, who understand like what you're trying to do as an independent artist. And there are angels, who really believe in it and try to help you. But it doesn't mean that it's in any way easy. And it was a real scrap just to get onto stages in New York. And fortunately, I had some friends on the ground there who really looked to bat for us. And once we were in there, people, I brought, high levels pros from Italy, and we rehearsed and we gave good shows, and it was a lot of fun. But it was situations where there might be 5 or 6 bands, one on the hour, at Spike Hill in Brooklyn or whatever. Or you're playing, the lobby of a famous club instead of the club itself. And there's like 6 other people waiting in line to do it. But, but just to be there was incredible. And for me, it was a really important proof of sort of what the Silver Snails, live as a rock band could be and how good it could be. So, I sort of live to get to that moment again. And with the new LP, of course, our new LP is like, that's the shot. That's the moonshot.
And that's what you're in Portland for right now, right? You're recording a new
Correct.
album. Yep. So
yeah, I've been working on it for a while.
So how does that work for you? I know you were talking earlier about having to travel. Do you have a friend maybe that's a studio? It's just a studio you prefer. What makes you go back to Portland to do this recording? Well,
before, I have roots in Portland. I went to high school, medical school here, etc. And, before I went overseas permanently, I found a storage space, which is like just a little small living apartment. Anyway, I have a lair, let's say, which is near Portland. And so I've been using that just to do business, really, every time I come back to the States. And a couple of years ago, I decided that I could get my LP going by finding an engineer based in Portland. So I was going there anyway. It's a reasonable place to do it, and there's a lot of talent. And so I made a survey of all the studio's engineers and contacted my top three, and he was lucky. The first one, my top one, said yes. So he agreed to be my engineer, but he's also doing other things for me now. Yeah. So I'm writing and producing myself, but with a lot of help from, professional Sherpas. So this guy owns a studio, and so he can source studio pros and et cetera, et cetera. And now I was telling you about the Twitter promotion. That was also through this guy. So again, you're on your own, but if you're determined and you're willing to, put resources behind it, you can find people to sort of help you do anything you need to do.
Now, we were talking also earlier about you just mentioned there, the social media promotion that you're doing. I thought that was fascinating. Mm-hmm. You said something like 4 million followers on Facebook. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. How did that get going for you? I mean, what did you do? I think we both want to know how that happened. I mean, luck of the draw here, or did you attack that with a strategy?
No. Well, that's the thing. I think one of the myths that a lot of people have is that if you write a really great song and just sort of throw it out there, that it'll sort of be carried, like a seed, and it'll just sort of take root and spread. But we have been putting it out there for a long time and have been getting really good feedback. But I think the reality for everybody is that if you want to start a new brand, whether it's in music or food or anything, mm-hmm. you have to be willing to sort of spend a lot to promote it and so that people can sample it. Mm-hmm. And so imagine you're starting a band today. What do you got to do? Well, you got to have your concept and hopefully, your product. And so like with us, we started with an LP and we did it ourselves and we hired people to help us produce it, et cetera. And then you say, well, what are my media channels? Do I want a website? Some people might say, Facebook could take the place of your website, but you want to be on YouTube for sure. Yeah. You want to be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I would argue also Twitter and Instagram, especially if you're trying to reach, we're doing pop rock, originals, so we need to reach people in the Anglo markets that are like under 30. So that means being on Instagram for sure, which we are maybe a little bit late. But a few years ago, as we were setting all of this up, it became obvious to me just through experimenting that $1 spent on Facebook would go much farther than on anything else. And so, and I found myself at a point where there wasn't much I could do but promote on social media. So I really decided to run with it. And because, again, we started out with the charter really of being a global project for a global audience, mm-hmm. creating a product for Facebook is really perfect because while it might cost you $1 or something to reach somebody, let's say in the U.S. on Facebook, you might be able to reach 1,000 people, who speak English in other parts of the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even if they don't speak English, doesn't mean they won't enjoy what we do. And what we do is multilingual to begin with. And it's intended really as an audio love letter to the world. In other words, part of just the position that we're taking is that we're all one family, and music is part of that human cultural heritage. And so that's one thing that's commonality. And so we play with languages, we play with genres, we play with the social media channels, we play with theater, and whatever lever we have, again, to accomplish our joy, which is our goal, which is spreading joy.
Well, speaking of that love letter, there is a fantastic one called Dancing with the Stars. And I love this track. This is actually what drew me to message you the first time. We want to play that for our audience, showcase your music that you're talking about. How about set this up for us? What's this song? What's the inspiration behind this song?
Sure. Well, this is the first song on the LP, and so it's meant as a calling card, meaning if you don't know anything about the Silver Snails and you just want to watch one video, listen to one song, we say start with Dancing with the Stars. The inspiration for it is the inspiration that I imagine Stevie Wonder felt when he wrote that song, Isn't She Lovely? Where he's a new father and he's just sort of overwhelmed by this miracle that's occurred. And as a songwriter, he's trying to capture the moment in song. So this is really just my version of that. And it came from a specific moment in time. I was kind of depressed, and I was on some train tracks in Italy with my daughter. She was 6 or something at the time, 5 or 6, and we had to go to Rome for something. And I was feeling down, and I looked at her, and she was just kind of bopping, just kind of dancing by herself, as kids do. And inspired me to start writing some lyrics, and that's how the song was born. And so she's the one that sings the chorus, because she's bigger now, and she's a very, very good singer.
That's
but
cool.
we use, our own kids in the videos. So that's you hear her and her sister, and also my wife sings on the song.
Oh, okay.
That's
So you got a little
awesome.
Partridge Family thing going on there. All right,
It's a
fantastic.
family band. It's a family affair.
Well, we're going to take a listen to it. So just hang on there for us, Lucas, and we'll play this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Silver Snails and Dancing with the Stars.
Thank you.
In questa immensità, l'uomo stanco di sentirsi solo in un universo vuoto chiede l'aiuto all'angelo della galassia.
Walk around and ask myself, how could this be possible? My heart feels tender, vulnerable. She just dances, chatters like a tropical bird. And when she's dancing, she's dancing with the stars. And when she's dancing to the music of the stars. Of the like a tropical bird. When she's dancing with the stars. When she's dancing
And that was Dancing with the Stars here on To the Echo radio show. We're talking to the lead singer, the brains, the voice, the person behind the Silver Snails, Lucas Ward. So, Lucas, when you hear this now, I assume this has a pretty strong place in your heart, but you were saying your daughter that's singing there is a bit older now. So what is this song? How does this song resonate with you now, all these years later?
Oh, wow. You know, that's one of the big sort of fringe benefits, I would say, not just of choosing this path, but choosing to try to include the family and having them, you know, do these little cameos, is that our videos become like family movies, and they capture these moments in time that never come again. And all I can do is just sort of wonder at how we did it. You know, I mean, the video, which you guys have seen, that was the first video that we'd ever done. And we filmed it at night, you know. I mean, we had no experience. We didn't know what we're doing. You know, we got lights, we found friends, you know, dry ice, you know, had costumes made, and just kind of ballsed our way through it. And, you know, there was always an intention to make something as high quality as possible so it would have longer shelf life. And frequently I'm grateful that we did that, you know, because at the time, whenever you're making something, and I'm sure it's like this for filmmakers, but certainly for musicians, there's always a sticking point, every song, every LP, every step of the way. And it takes determination to try to cross over those and finish. And when you're done, you forget about it. It's like a birth, right? The woman, I imagine, sort of forgets. They say they forget the pain of childbirth and you just sort of enjoy the beauty of the child. And that's kind of the way my relationship is to the 7 melodies in these videos, especially, you know, knowing that my family really put their heart and soul into it. And also because I have to get up and basically, you know, present and represent the material every day on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram. And so, you know, I have to believe in it. And so it's fortunate for me that I do. You know, it's like part of us, and I love it. And I'm very happy to share it with people. And I'm very grateful for you guys for spotlighting it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're glad to have you on. I have to ask you about this as well. Now, one thing I noticed from the video, and I've seen a couple of your other videos as well, I think some live performances, but you were mentioning the theatrics of your band and your performances and your videos here. Explain to me what's going on with, and I'll let you also explain it to the audience, what's going on with your take on the theatrics, the way you present yourself on stage. Tell me a little bit about that and how you came about doing it.
Okay. Well, first of all, the underlying principle is, and this was actually our first original slogan, fun is good. In other words, anything you can do that's fun is worth considering. And of course, I grew up with these sort of genre-bending multimedia all-age spectacles like the Muppets, which is kind of an adult thing, but it certainly works for kids, and there's music, but it's comedy, and it's anyway. So, you know, and then David Bowie, the Beatles, of course, were making silly kids movies. Basically, those were the first real music videos, and so to the extent that we're descendants, we all are, you know, making whatever pop rock music videos today. That's just kind of taken for granted. But there's the other big element for us, which is unique to the Silver Snails, is just my wife's personality. And she was the one from the beginning that really championed, you know, let's organize the music videos. And I said, hallelujah, you know. And she was the one that roused and wrangled and wrestled all the fire dancers and makeup artists and, you know, costume people. And we'd do things like we'd go to Berkeley and go to like the Sari district and like buy all these Indian wedding clothes, you know, and take them back in suitcases. And then 3 years later, you know, they became like costume for the Ave Maria video or whatever. But we wanted to do things that would help transport people, you know, to make the videos like miniature movies, to create, you know, environments and concepts to go with the songs, you know, to sort of amplify and reinforce, you know, the message of the songs, and also to provide more, you know, more visual hook for the sort of the fan base cultivation. And since it was the first time and the first record, there's definitely some experimentation going on, and we just felt that license to, let's say, do this glam space rock thing and Dancing with the Stars, and then we went to this whole kind of colorful Latin thing in Coco Loco, and then we're doing a different thing on other videos. But when it came time to play live, there was a question of, well, what is our look? What are we going to wear on stage? Mm-hmm. And there, we're definitely using kind of the idea of the glam rock, family band. So the Dancing with the Stars look. In fact, our next video is kind of a sequel to the Dancing with the Stars video, and so it'll have similar costume, but it'll be inside the spaceship. Because in Dancing with the Stars, we land, and it's on the beach, and the piano is like this little pod. Mm-hmm. But in the next video, we'll be inside.
Now, am I wrong, or do I see face paint in this video? That's correct, right?
Oh yeah, lots of makeup. But again, that's my wife. Like, she was really into that. She wanted to have kids. She wanted to have all these crazy costumes, and she's the one that got the textiles and the flowers. And again, I see that as just, I kind of got lucky, by saying, yes, let's make it a family thing. Mm. That's just a lot of artistic value that she and my daughters, I have to say, are bringing to the table. And then I'm just kind of channeling it and working with it. Of course, I'm doing pretty much all the music mm-hmm. and all of like the interface with social media.
Incredible. Lucas.
And then,
go ahead.
That's all right. We work together.
So, let me ask you this. We've talked a little bit about it, but just for the audience, can have some direct links. Where can people find you? What's the best place to follow you, and when can they expect your next installment?
Okay. The main channels, whichever you prefer. If you're a Twitter person, then definitely follow us on Twitter. We're there. If you're an Instagram person, then please, come and follow us and participate. Facebook, again, that's our original and main one. If you're a Facebook person, that's also a rich feed. So it's really more for your convenience. In terms of how you can sort of enjoy our music, I mean, we're everywhere. We've got the 7 Melodies on Spotify. We've got the 7 Melodies on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. It's in the digital stores. If you want a physical copy, you can get it. Mm. Or like I say, you can stream it wherever you like to stream.
Excellent. And and we'll also on our website we always post a blog post for all our guests, so we'll post links to all that for anybody who wants to just click it and get
Certainly,
there.
I would encourage anyone listening to this show to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We don't have that many subscribers yet, but we have 4 HD music videos that we've made with the costumes, on location in Italy.
Excellent.
And there are 4 of the 8 songs on the 7 Melodies. And there's also some videos of our live performances and even some stuff in the studio just to give people a flavor and see what we look like in our natural habitat. Mm-hmm. So YouTube is also good. I mean, because YouTube, you don't even have to log in or anything. Everybody's on Spotify and Facebook.
Well, it has been so great to talk to you, and we really appreciate that you wanted to come on the show and let us showcase your music.
Yeah.
And it's just been such a pleasure to meet you, and I mean, I think your story is fascinating.
Yep.
And I hope all the best for you. Good luck with your recording, and like I said, when will we expect the next album?
The next one. Okay, so yeah, I mean, although this has been in process for a while, we're really trying to drive to a conclusion. We're working on an LP of at least 12 originals and 1 cover, so
nice.
Almost twice as long as the 7 Melodies. And it's real sort of alt rock, indie pop oriented, hopefully coming out by early 2019, maybe get some premieres towards the end of the year. So I'd say, if you're interested in the project, anybody out there, now's the time. Just follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and you'll definitely hear about what's going on.
And of
we
course,
look forward to upping the bar even more. Like, we're proud of the 7 melodies, but we've definitely learned some tricks in the meantime, and we're happy to show them.
Very cool.
Excellent. And for our audience, you can also see our links on Twitter, on our website as well. Like we said, that's totheechoradio.com, and tweet us at totheecho.com, and tweet us at totheechoradio. All right, Lucas, well, we're going to let you go. We really appreciate you calling in, and like I said, all the best, safe travels back home, and we can't wait to see you out there on social media.
Okay, Nick, Derek, thank you.
Thank you.
Danke, auf Wiedersehen. And let's do it again.
Yeah.
Danke. Okay.
Keep us in mind when that next album comes
Absolutely. Juice.
Okay. Likewise. Sounds, guys. Cheers.
Thank you. We'll see you.
So that was Lucas Ward of the Silver Snails.
Yeah,
What do you think, Derek?
That's pretty cool, man. That's inspiring. That's cool to get your whole family involved.
Unbelievable, right?
Cool song, yeah. I mean, you've been telling me all week. He's like, oh, he sounds like Coldplay, and all that. I'm like, okay, all right, Nick, okay. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I guess you're right. No, it's very cool.
But it's different, and now I think getting that whole backstory is what I spoke to him for the first time on the phone earlier today.
Yeah.
And that backstory is what was so fascinating, because you listen to a song like that and you see the silver makeup. I mean, it's almost like a Blue Man Group kind of thing going on up on a stage. And I thought, what is this guy's deal? What's he all about? And to find out that he is living in Italy and speaks all these different languages.
What a story.
Yeah, it's like the Beatles going to India.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
He knows Mandarin and all. That was one of my burning questions, and I forgot to ask. But God. How hard was that to learn?
Right?
Because I've worked with folks who speak Mandarin, and I mean, it's different. But
I don't even want to pretend to do it because
I can't. No.
It'll be offensive.
It is offensive,
but I mean,
Nick, don't do it.
but seriously,
yeah.
I mean, very, very cool. And I think he said he spoke 7 languages. I think is what he said.
Oh.
Anyway. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
That's more than I know.
Yeah, it's a great story. Yeah. It's doing better than us. No, I think it's really good to see that perspective, though. I mean, for anybody who is a musician out there, it's not always about playing the game the way the game's been built for the last 50 years. What I like about his story in particular is the fact that he's in some cases putting his music out there for free, and that is the promotion for the show. And that's how it's starting to turn for most indie artists now anyways, because it's just ultimately we consume music like we consume anything now, like food.
Well, and you can get it in so many places.
Yeah.
So easily.
Yeah.
I liken it to some radio shows. I'm not going to name names, but there's some very large radio hosts I like to listen to. And even when they have attempted to keep their content proprietary, people will copy it and put it on Facebook, or not Facebook, but YouTube anyway. Yeah. So it's just the internet. I mean, what are you going to do? It is what it is.
Right. Yeah. It's an amazing story. Very cool. Yeah, I definitely hope to hear back from him.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna reset, and then Derek has something very special for us.
That's right.
When we get back, so we'll be right back.
Yes.
I used to love hiking with my family. The great outdoors, fresh air, nature. But then nature called, and then again and again. I could barely walk for 30 minutes without having to stop. Then after an unpleasant experience with poison ivy in my backside, I decided to stop hiking. It tore my family apart. But that's when I discovered Defecant. 1 pill, and I don't have to go for a week. Now I can hike for hours without stopping. I can climb mountains. I can stop eating.
Defecant is a prescription pill designed to cause constipation. Your body will be forced to hold on to food and waste for several days. If you lose the ability to defecate for more than 10 days, please seek medical attention immediately. Defecant has been proven not to cause skin cancer or ovarian cancer. There is high risk for elevated blood pressure or even heart attack. In some cases, you may contract sepsis. You may hallucinate or defecate blood. Call your doctor and see if Defecant is right for you. Defecant. Get your life back.
Derek, I was thinking to myself yesterday that I just have to go all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, what could I possibly do to just keep those urges down whenever nature calls.
Listen, Nick, Defecant is my number one recommended medication. Dude, you won't even think about going again. That's what it's like, you know how you got like kind of a leaky faucet with little drip, drip, drip? It's like the plumber comes in and just fixes the drip.
Oh,
and then
my God.
You never go again, my friend.
That's exactly what I need.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It really is. You can do anything and everything you want to do. Like, think about the wasted hours that you spend in there every day.
Years.
Yeah, every day. I mean, how many novels have you read on Studio One?
All of them.
Yeah.
All of the novels I own. Look at this bookshelf.
I know.
They were all read in Studio One.
Pretty much all Animorphs. Yeah, but...
I am extremely proud of that collection. But you know what? I could read the entire thing if I only had Defecant.
I know. That's right. So talk to your doctor. Now there are, I mean, you've heard, but it is extremely painful towards the end of the medication. And in some cases you could die. So it's not for everybody.
As
but,
medicine does.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
As is tradition.
Yeah. So Defecant. No, a buddy. I have to give credit where credit's due. A buddy of mine, where I work, I sit down and I write these commercials.
After
and
you take Defecant.
Yeah, after I take Defecant, and I'm just sitting there thinking. And my buddy Case, this was his idea, and I told him I'm going to call him out because he came up with the name, he came up with the premise, and then I went and did the commercial, but it wouldn't have existed without him and Defecant. So,
well, I'm so glad that he lended you that idea.
He did. So I really appreciate it. All right, Nick, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Today on To the Echo Radio Show, we're going to play Superhero Trivia.
Oh, geez. Here it goes.
For $50 million on the line. No. We didn't
$50 million?
We didn't get the check. So it looks like today you're going to get to find out what superhero you are after doing the trivia.
Oh, goodness.
How's that sound, Mr. Nico Kelly?
I know what superhero I would like to be.
All right. Well, you know which one you're not going to be. Wonder Woman. Okay. Well, you could be Wonder Woman.
You never know.
You're right.
I like that lasso.
Okay. All right, Nick, are you ready for question number 1?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
Let's start with an easy one. How many standalone Iron Man films are there?
The answer would be 3, dear.
3. Boom! Correct. 3 is the magic number here. Iron Man was released in 2008, Iron Man 2 2010, and Iron Man 3 in 2013.
Excellent.
All right. Question number 2. In the X-Men films, what's the name of Professor Xavier's telepathy enhancing machine?
Oh man, I know this.
I know you do.
Cerebro.
Ding, 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 ding. Here's Mystique strolling in after pretending to be Professor by security. I'm going to show you that video. There it is.
Yeah.
How's that look?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, yeah. And I did not write this quiz. I'm totally stealing it from the BBC. All right, moving quite along.
That's what we do around here.
That's it. We steal and we give credit. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which singer reportedly makes an appearance for just half a second, chosen for a cameo because her voice would be perfect for a robot?
Oh, man.
I'm going to give you 3 answers.
All right.
Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, or Sia?
I'm going to have to go with Sia?
Sia. Let's find out. What do we have for him, Johnny? Oh, make sure you have the bad music.
I have it.
All right. It's wrong. Sorry, Nick. It was Miley Cyrus. Let's get that music back on. All right. Next question. Miley Cyrus. Half a second.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know.
Incredible.
For someone who loves that movie,
okay.
You surely don't.
I didn't know it.
Which former The Office actor plays an aged version of Caliban in the 2017 Wolverine movie, Logan? Ricky Gervais, Martin Freeman, or Stephen Merchant?
Martin. He was in the original Office.
So was Ricky Gervais.
I don't. Oh man, that's hard. I guess I'll go with C.
C. Stephen Merchant. Correct.
Oh
It's the tall man himself. Though he spends much of his role in Logan with a cloth over his face.
Oh.
Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't even know who that was.
Neither did I.
Incredible.
All right, number one, an oldie but a goodie here.
Okay.
How does the character Blade become half vampire in the 1998 film of the same name?
He gets bitten by a vampire. I think he's half vampire because one of his parents was a vampire.
All right, here's the three answers.
Okay.
He drinks the blood of a vampire.
All right.
His mom is bitten by a vampire while she's pregnant. Or C, no one knows.
I'm going to go with his mom was bitten by a vampire.
Correct!
Oh,
Blade's
yes!
poor mom
I knew it was
is
something
bitten
with
by
the
a
bomb.
vampire while pregnant.
I haven't seen Blade in a while.
I know. It's
All
been
right.
a while. Who directed Thor, the 2011 Marvel version of the myth of a hammer-wielding Norse god?
Oh, who directed it? Oh, shoot.
All right, I'm going to give you three names.
Yeah, give them to me.
Jon Favreau,
Yeah.
Ron Howard, or Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh.
Ding, ding, ding!
Yes! All right.
That's
I'm
right.
killing it here.
What's the name of the rival shrinking technology in the 2015 film Ant-Man?
Oh, I guess give me some answers.
Yellow jacket, blue jacket, green jacket.
Yellow Jacket.
That's right!
Yeah.
Good job. Which Game of Thrones star played Jean Grey in 2016's X-Men Apocalypse? Michelle Fairley, Maisie Williams, or Sophie Turner?
Wait, who played Miss? Who
Who
what
played
was the
Jean Grey in 2016's X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah, Sophie Turner.
Correct!
Yes.
And she was Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
And, have you ever seen that show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, good.
I love
Just
it.
making sure. According to the critics, 2015's Fantastic Four was a bit of a turkey. But with which film did it share the worst picture Golden Raspberry for that year? Victor Frankenstein, 50 Shades of Grey, or Entourage?
Victor Frankenstein?
Guess what, Nick?
Yeah? Oh.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
The correct answer was 50 Shades of Grey.
The worst movie of the year?
The Golden Raspberry, yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's get that happy music on. Last question, Nick, before we find out what superhero you are today.
Okay.
In 2004,
I'm ready.
Thomas Jane played Frank Castle, a.k.a. The Punisher,
Yeah.
in the film of the same name.
Yeah.
But what was the iconic logo on the Vigilante Alter Egos t-shirt?
A skull?
That's right!
Yeah!
It's a skull with slightly elongated teeth.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, are you ready to find out who you are?
I am so ready for this. I can't wait to find this out. What is it?
He sits atop Marvel's own list of top heroes, and on the upvote list site top 10, he comes a clear first above Iron Man and Captain America.
Ooh.
Reasons include he's not rich or invincible, but he still manages to take down a whole host of real powerful villains.
Okay.
Spider-Man!
Yeah! Spider-Man. I like being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice.
Well, you know,
Spider-Man.
yeah, if you looked in a mirror, you don't look like Spider-Man. You look like Spider-Can't.
That would only work if it was called Spider-Can.
You're right. I'm sorry. It kind of rhymed, so I went with it. Nick,
Yeah.
I read some pretty crazy news, and I wanted to talk about it because this is the live show. And
All right.
on the Wednesday show, this won't make any sense.
All right, so what is it?
Sprint and T-Mobile reach merger agreement in a plan to make the world's best 5G network.
Wow.
Nick, who's your phone carrier? Verizon, right?
Well, it's Straight Talk, but
yeah.
I think they are owned by TracFone, who is owned by Verizon. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, all right.
Kind of.
I'm on T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And and Sprint sucks.
Sprint. I have had Sprint.
Yeah, I did for a little bit.
I worked back at, I think I can say this now, I worked back at Radio Shack for a while.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we sold Sprint. I had a Sprint phone at the time because we, had basically a free plan.
Yeah.
Unlimited with them. I could not get service where I lived.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
So I also tried AT&T, didn't like them either. I've never tried T-Mobile. Do you think that that's going to benefit Sprint? I mean, I haven't heard
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
T-Mobile is significantly better than Sprint. Sprint, the reason why Sprint did so poorly
Yep.
was because they invested in the wrong wireless technology.
Yeah.
So there was the 4G network, or LTE, and they went with WiMAX. And what happened was WiMAX did not take off.
They should have learned from Kodak.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't divvy from everyone else. No.
Yeah.
So
Don't go against the flow.
So what happened was that, yeah, you got unlimited data. Yeah, it's cheaper, but you also have way more 3G availability than you did LTE, where everybody else is crushing you. T-Mobile, being a T-Mobile customer, I actually really like it because we have a thing called T-Mobile Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Where every Tuesday we get free stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Free movie rental, free pizzas, free, just free stuff, man. Free 25 cents off up to 10 gallons of gas or 12 gallons, 15
Really?
gallons. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, they have things every week. And it's really well priced, and it obviously depends where you live, because Verizon overall has the best coverage. We just got to be honest.
I mean, that's just, they don't sponsor the show. We'd love for them to.
Yeah.
But if we're getting down to the basics here,
Yeah.
it's the best. I don't know how they pull it off, because the trick is,
Yeah.
from selling the phones, I mean, this is real. They don't just say this, but they do piggyback off of each other's towers, because, like, for example, Sprint will rent time from Verizon towers.
Yep.
They just don't, when they use that as a ploy to get you to buy.
Yep.
What they don't tell you is that even though they do indeed do that, they don't get access to all of the towers.
Right.
It's, certain spots where maybe they don't want to build
Well, it's
one.
frequencies.
Yeah.
It's that they're buying. Like, T-Mobile bought very heavily in a lot of frequencies in 5G that AT&T and Verizon did not get. So I think this next generation, T-Mobile will be a lot more competitive, especially now that they have Sprint's rural coverage, because Sprint was always very good in weird places.
Yeah, that's what's weird about them.
Yeah, like, they're crap here, but they're pretty good, like, in the Midwest. I don't know. It's just how, like, you got.
Well, that's the only way that they're still around.
Yeah, I know. You got full bars in the Grand Canyon. Yes.
Yeah, but for those people that happen, and if you look at the maps, like the real maps of where those customers are, the heaviest volume of people, it's in very, like, targeted and centralized areas, completely spread out. I mean, you look at Verizon and it's like
everywhere,
everywhere,
just red.
Sprint's just like here, 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 and here, and that's where they get their money from.
Yeah, right. Or people that have terrible credit, and Sprint's like, we'll take you. Anybody, please.
They will.
They will.
Do. And I also have to say, I think I see, maybe you'll disagree.
Okay.
I think I see more commercials for Sprint than Verizon.
You do.
I mean, they had the, which, by the way, the Can You Hear Me Now guy
it's really stupid.
He's on Sprint now.
Like, really? That's how you have to go for Verizon's old guy?
Yeah, what's the deal with that guy? Like, didn't you make enough from those commercials?
Yeah.
Come on. That would be like Flo going over to, wait a minute.
Yeah, Flo from
Flo going to
Progressive.
Geico.
The Geico, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
She might, but how stupid would that be? No, but Sprint, they spend, it's like CNN. They just spend so much money for promotion and, being in your face that you wonder how that business model works.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They've been desperate. This merger's tried to happen before, and then talks fell down back in October of last year. Yeah. And all of a sudden it came back. It's because Sprint's dying. They're just,
absolutely.
Like, no, they're not easy to work with. They have terrible customer service. It's going to be cool because John Legere, I think is his name. He's the CEO of T-Mobile. He's like, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of him. He like wears a coat, purple shirts, sunglasses.
Really?
He's like a really funny guy.
I haven't seen this guy.
He's like, man, Dumb and Dumber, Verizon and AT&T. He's like, they're always just feeding you bull beep. I mean, he's just straight up cusses and all that. I mean, it's funny, and I liked him. I liked it just for that. Not only that, dude, I don't know if you know this. If you have 2 lines, I believe, on T-Mobile, you get a free subscription to Netflix every month.
No, I didn't know that.
In addition to your T-Mobile Tuesdays.
Oh, wait, I think I remember seeing the commercial T-Mobile plus Netflix.
We'll pay for your movies.
Yeah.
That's $12.
That's pretty cool. I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah.
And I will say this, too. In Europe, T-Mobile is it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have O2.
Yeah.
There's O2 over there. That's what I used while I was there because they had the only prepaid SIM card that you could get monthly.
Yeah.
But T-Mobile is the big dog. I mean, they are the Verizon. There is no Verizon in Europe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Verizon has international plans, but they don't have a presence at all in Europe. So that's also very interesting, I think.
It is. So, big news, for all you people who on Sprint, hey, there's hope.
Well, Derek, it's been a great show.
Yeah. It started off, I mean, we've always classified ourselves as a comedy show.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard to not want to get into the seriousness of music sometimes.
Well,
and that's the truth.
And that's what we know is the music business. And I love, pulling the gags and having the fun. But the thing is, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there doing the music industry just like we did who need a platform.
Yeah.
And this is the whole problem with the music industry right now. You hear people say all the time, and it's true, music industry sucks right now.
Mm-hmm.
But why is that?
Yeah.
It's because you can't find people like Lucas who, okay, maybe his music is eclectic, but it's great. I mean, it's great music. He's out there, he's doing it, and there's just so many people like him that just need to get seen, and they need people to invest in them rather than just buying whatever the mainstream is putting on the shelf.
It's getting kind of dull out there.
It really is. There's no innovation anymore because record companies aren't looking for that anymore. They have a formula they're following, and that's all there is to it.
It's a business. You got it.
Well, anyway, we're gonna take it out with another one of their songs, Coco Loco. Little beach jam. We thank you so much for joining us. It's been To The Echo radio show from the AOK Production House. I'm Nico Kelly.
I'm Derek Daisy.
And we'll see you next time, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Same bad channel, same stupid time. Have a great one.
Chica, 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 chica.